Hey, this is Jersey. You're listening to the Garden State.
You're listening to The Garden State, the only New Jersey podcast that gives you all the news you need to hear this week. My name is Josh Sobo.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Jimmy Parks.
Wow. What a difference on that intro. Yes, it's true. The rumors were true. Josh Chomik is away. He's away from us.
Podcast.
And Jordan's filling in for him. Jordan, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank us again. I'm trying to find the applause thing on the soundboard. I don't know if we actually have it.
Thank you for having me. You need to do it again?
Yeah, there it is.
It's the live
All right.
studio audience.
You know, I don't know if we're allowed to say what Chomik's doing right now.
I don't think we can. Just he's on an airplane.
Chomik, you're going to beep this part out if I'm not allowed to say it. But this is probably the coolest. I'm going to hype this up a little bit. This is the coolest thing ever. If you're a fan of the show, do you know what Josh is doing right now?
No, you didn't tell me.
If you like, Josh is currently in Montana shooting a brand video, and the star of it is, and it's for, so I'm probably not allowed to say any of that. It's going to be really funny if he beeps it out.
Yeah. But it's really, really cool.
I mean, like, can you believe that's even real?
No, I can't believe that he's just in Montana. I'm just jealous about that.
Yeah, so we could say he's in Montana. That's
Yeah.
allowed. But
Can't say what he's doing.
maybe not what he's doing. I don't know. We'll see what he says. But I will say I'm jealous of his journeys. You and Jimmy, you and Chomik take these ridiculous journeys from the Garden State to other states.
I feel like I haven't went anywhere in a while. I'm like itching.
You're going to probably go out to Montana this summer, no?
I hope so. I could only dream.
And Jordan, freshly back from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Home of Hollywood celebrities and the elites and everything. And yeah, how was that?
It was great. I got to see some celebrities, some of the elites.
Who?
Will Ferrell.
Really?
Ran into him twice, which is so random to run into him twice in 1 week.
Did he remember you the second time?
No. Well, I didn't like introduce myself. or
Oh,
anything,
you
but,
just
like,
saw him.
He was just like there.
Yeah.
I was at a concert. His son was performing, and he was just like there next to me.
Twice.
Yeah. Well, then the next time we went to it was like an improv comedy night, maybe like 100 people in the room. And it was some guys I've never heard of. And all of a sudden Will Ferrell just comes out and I'm like, no way.
Isn't
2 times
that
in a week.
crazy, like how small the world like actually is that you could run to someone like that twice?
Well, it's not small. This is the thing. Like, this is the weirdness of life. It is small, but it's not. Like, you know, you ever go on a trip and you run into somebody that lives in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
In like
Yep.
LA or you're in Europe. That happens. I feel like that happens so frequently. But at the same time, the odds, the statistical probability of that happening is like you're better off winning the lottery.
Yeah.
So how does that happen? Like to run into Will Ferrell, of all people. You are in Los Angeles, so okay, I'll give you that. But twice? Here's the question I have, though. If you run into Will Ferrell and you strike up a conversation, your opening line is a quote from one of his movies. What quote are you going with? What's his most iconic quote? Because there's a lot of good ones.
I don't even know.
What would be yours?
I mean, you mentioned that you think he doesn't like Alf as one of his films. Do you still feel that?
I mean, I would assume. I feel like everybody kind of hates the biggest thing that they're known for because it
Yeah.
just gets old so quick.
I don't know. See, now I put a lot of pressure on myself. I could probably riff something off pretty easily without, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like he had a lot of good ones in Talladega Nights.
Dude, I was watching this scene from Talladega Nights the other night on YouTube where they're praying for the meal.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
So you ran into Will Ferrell. Jimmy's probably going to take a trip, and I'm just going to be stuck here in the Garden State, which is okay because this is the Garden State podcast. We love New Jersey. We love all things New Jersey. And this morning it was extremely bright out when I woke up, by the way.
It was like, yeah, it's crazy how much longer the days are getting. We're getting towards the longest day of the year, which is nuts. It's like what, like a month and a half away.
Wow.
And there's beautiful sunrise this morning.
Yeah. You saw the sunrise?
I did. I was a little bit late on it. Like I was at just the very tail end of it when I was walking out my door, but I was like, oh, the sky's like pretty colors.
What time did your alarm go off this morning?
Oh, I woke up at 4:55.
What? Jimmy. 4:55?
Yeah.
Is that every day?
No. But I normally wake up before my alarm. My alarm was set for 5. I set it for 5 for days to record the podcast.
What time do you go to bed at?
Last night I went to bed at like 10:30.
Okay. That's pretty good.
So, but that's like later than I normally would for this day.
Do you guys have any summer plans that involve New Jersey? Because we are hitting the time of the year where we have to consider summer.
That's a great question. I don't know if I do.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
I feel like I never plan ahead. It's always like last second things.
Is
Yeah.
it true
Yeah.
that you're hosting a Memorial Day weekend barbecue?
No, what I am, I mean, if you guys want to meet at the Cranford Memorial Day Parade,
Oh,
Jordan will be there. You better come on out.
yeah, definitely.
We're going to cheer on the rec baseball team and all the little fire trucks.
Definitely.
Then, as is tradition, we go to my parents' place and my sister makes crepes.
Oh.
So you're invited formally, Jimmy, if you want to be a patriotic young American man on Memorial Day.
I'll be there.
I love parades, and I've said this before on the podcast. I love how small town New Jersey, and maybe it's everywhere, you know. I love a parade. Isn't that a song?
I don't know.
But I love how towns do a Memorial Day parade, and it shows how much our culture shifted. Where who do you know that would go out of their way today to say, "Hey, let's start a new celebration of really any holiday, let alone Memorial Day." Like,
Yeah.
people are so unpatriotic now that it would be weird for somebody to be like, "Let's have a Memorial Day parade," but it's a thing.
Yeah.
And then there's 4th of July parades too. I'm going to try to hit one of those. I like parades. I think they're fun.
And then you have like the Halloween parade.
Yeah, but like,
It's not the same. It's not the same.
you know, there was a Halloween dog parade in Cranford a few years ago.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
pretty
I was
awesome.
hanging out with Chomik and we're like, what is that music? So we walk outside and we see a red carpet with all these dog moms like walking down the red carpet with their dogs dressed as like Frankenstein and Luke Skywalker or Princess Leia. It was pretty weird. Yeah, it was like this is the right before, you know how the Roman Empire collapsed?
Yeah.
Like we're there. We're right before the fall.
They were doing
Like-
dog parades there.
Yeah, like I feel like this is the fall of the empire. We're getting close to the end. I mean, people love their animals a little too much. And I'm a dog lover. But the dog mom thing, it's just not for me.
If you really enjoy parades, which sounds like you do, you're gonna have to take a trip to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And
Really?
I was in Alabama this past December and just happened to stumble into the West Alabama Christmas parade. It was the longest parade. I left before it was over. It was like an hour and a half, and like there's still like, as far as the eye could see, more parade stuff coming.
See,
So it's a really big deal.
That's the thing about the Memorial Day parade is it's like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's real quick. My daughter's going to scream
When the fire
of
truck is
excitement
by.
from the fire trucks. But now I'm wondering, what's the best parade you can catch in New Jersey? What do you think? I mean, there's a lot of food truck festivals going on, but nobody ever talks about the parades.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into that and maybe we'll get some intel on it.
Can I bring up one more thing
Yeah.
before we move on? So when you said before, like, it's crazy that like we still do these things. Why don't we celebrate May Day anymore? Whatever happened to the maypole?
What is May Day, Jimmy?
You don't know what May Day is? It's the 1st of May. And back in the day, there used to be this pole and people would like dance around this pole with like ribbons until there's no more ribbon, I think.
Okay, so May Day is a European festival of ancient origins marking the beginning of summer, usually celebrated on the 1st of May, around halfway between the Northern Hemisphere spring equinox and June solstice. It comes from the Roman goddess of flowers. We probably don't celebrate it just because it's not connected to anything directly in our culture.
Back in the day, my parents celebrated it in Cranford. They would dance around the maypole. Did you see the picture of the maypole?
They have like an Asherah up. This is kind of cultic, don't you think? I don't know. They have a bunch of children dancing around an Asherah. I mean, listen. I'm up for any celebration. We want to get out. We want to celebrate. But I think the best parades link to our culture.
Yes.
It links us all together and makes us go, wow, we're a part of something bigger than ourselves. And that's lost in America. Nobody cares about anything anymore. Everyone's like a rebel without a cause. You go to a Memorial Day parade and you see the VFW guys, right? In their Korean War uniforms. You're like, he's a 90-year-old man. It makes you kind of feel a little something deep down inside, deep in your little Grinch American heart. You go, wow, there's some meaning to this whole thing. And, you know, I'm going to go eat a crepe now. So
I'm going to go to the grape now.
So, all right, let's move on. We should open the mailbag. Jordan, I have a question for you, Jordan.
Yeah.
If someone were to want to call into our mailbag, do you know if there's a number that they could call?
I believe there is, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Oh, geez.
It's the big blue button on the top left. Jordan,
Top
what's
left,
the
this
number?
one?
Yeah, what's the number they could call?
908 67 99 99 3.
Hi, Garden State. I'm calling from up in Passaic County, New Jersey. And this isn't exactly New Jersey news, but it does pertain to New Jersey. That I read in an article that the New York City 4th of July fireworks this year are going to be held over the Hudson River, and that you'll be able to get a front row seat to see the fireworks from like Jersey City, Hoboken, over there. So I don't know if you guys know about this, but it's something you should definitely talk about and, let the Garden State know that, where you can see the New York City fireworks right from Hoboken. Because the article said that the governor was excited for the potential boom in business. And yeah, that's about it. Anyways, love the pod. Love what you do. Bye, Josh, and Jimmy.
And Jordan.
And Jordan, yeah, he forgot me.
So what's going on here? So well, thank you to that caller for that tidbit. This is the info we need. So it sounds like the 4th of July Macy's fireworks, which again, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's lineage. Macy's, an American institution, puts on a fireworks show for the people of New York.
And New Jersey.
Well, this year, so it used to happen in the East River, correct?
So it used to happen in Hudson River. Then they moved it to the East River in 2013, 2014.
I wonder why.
I don't know. But then, the last time I was in the Hudson River was 2013. So it's coming back.
So if you're anywhere on that eastern edge of New Jersey, you're going to get a good view. I'd imagine you could even see them from like parts of, I don't know, like the Port Reading area.
I would imagine.
You get
It's,
a good view?
these are like real fireworks. It's not like your
Yeah, they don't mess around.
downtown little fireworks show.
This is pretty cool.
I might actually go to see this.
Yeah. You know, it would be a really good setup for this. Laying out a blanket at Liberty State Park. Mm-hmm. Is it open on 4th of July, you think?
Of course.
So you go to Liberty State Park. I'm going to give somebody plans right now. Listen to this podcast. Go to Liberty State Park with your friends and watch the Macy's 4th of July fireworks over the Hudson River. You're living an experience that only a small sliver of humanity will get to live.
Yeah.
And in the backdrop, the greatest city to ever exist, New York City. Aside from Trenton, of course. Being that this is the Garden State podcast. Jordan, what do you think? You going to go to see these fireworks?
No. Probably not.
Great.
Are you guys?
No, I'm not going. I don't think.
I
Have
might
you ever
go.
been though? Dude, I
I
got a
might
baby.
go.
I got a baby now. We had fireworks in our town last year that were so legendary. Local fireworks.
Yeah.
They had a zip line. You know how they have vendors at some of these 4th of July shows?
Yep.
They had like 12 bounce houses, a zip line, and a cover band playing like Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. I was like, it doesn't get better than this. This is about as good as it gets. So I'm also a 70-year-old man. So
Yeah.
You're
There's
gonna
also
go there?
something like magical about that.
yeah, it's small town America. That's
Yeah.
the vibe.
I might go. We'll see. I mean, I think it sounds pretty cool, honestly. Like you said, Macy's doesn't mess around, so.
I feel like it's gonna be super crowded though.
Oh no,
Like,
for
everybody's
sure,
Already has the idea that you just pitched.
for sure.
No,
It's gonna be a
I
disaster.
was the first person to have that idea, and I claim it. We're closing the park just for me. I'm gonna call the park police and just say, lock it down, boys.
just for Soba.
You know what would be cool is if you had a helicopter, just be floating over, get a good view.
That would be cool. We could call our friends on Fly Nyan.
Oh,
I
wait
wonder.
a secondo, Jimmy. That's
I
a good idea.
wonder.
We do have friends with a helicopter.
We do.
We'll think about that one. We'll ponder on it for a bit. Who wants to work 4th of July, though? We don't want to be a helicopter pilot. But he would get the view, too. He'd probably think it's
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah, he probably want to be up there.
That's one job that's not even a job. Like, let's be honest. I mean, there's a lot of learning and you got to know a lot, but
There's a
you're
lot.
always having fun.
Oh yeah.
That's like saying, hey, if your job was playing pinball all day, you'd be like, it's not really technically a job.
I recently flew in a helicopter.
I don't know. I just thought of like the most goofy like game. Being a helicopter pilot's way cooler than that, but I don't know.
What I was saying, I recently flew in a helicopter with a military pilot. and it was the most fun helicopter ride I've ever been on in my life.
Really?
Like he was doing some crazy stuff. In this
How many times have you been
helicopter.
on a helicopter, Jimmy?
Oh, I lost count.
Really?
I've probably over 30 times.
You ever have the fear of death while you're up there?
No,
Okay.
only once after.
All right. So what happened?
Oh no, I happened to be around a few helicopter accidents in the last year. So my next time flying after that, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
So
I went up once.
got over it.
With Flying Ion,
yeah, I was with you.
and I was addicted. I was like,
It's awesome.
I picked the wrong path in life. I should just have made a plan to be on a helicopter every day. But you do hear a lot of accents,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So
Speaking of, this like doesn't really go into a story that we had planned on doing, but did you guys hear about the plane that went missing over
No.
New Jersey?
What?
Yeah. So this happened 2 or 3 days ago now, and Joint Base got like an alert that a plane's like emergency beacon went off, and then they thought it dropped off radar. So there was this huge response to try and like find this plane that they thought crashed into the woods.
what?
Yeah.
I'm reading about it right now. Mm-hmm. The search for a small aircraft that may have crashed in southern Ocean County Tuesday afternoon did not locate a plane in distress. Barnegat police said they were notified by the Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst around 3:15 p.m. after they had received a signal emergency locator transmitter. Extensive search using drones, off-road vehicles, helicopters, and on foot by several fire companies, plus the Ocean County Sheriff's Office and New Jersey Forest Fire Service did not turn up a crashed plane. So they never found anything.
Yeah, they never found anything.
So where's this plane?
We don't know.
In a lake, you think, like in a body of water?
No, I think what probably happened was that there's just a glitch with this transponder.
I don't know. That's weird. So a
Right.
plane is flying over New Jersey
Yep.
and an emergency beacon goes off
Yeah.
and there's nothing.
Yeah.
This is going to make a great podcast.
Wait, what
Wow.
if we found the plane?
Wait a second. What if that's
I feel
it?
like we could easily do that too.
Let's just take our bikes, just go loop the area a few times. No, but
find it
that's
pretty quick.
I mean, drones are crazy nowadays because they have thermal drones.
Yeah.
So beyond even just having helicopters and cars and stuff, you could launch like 5 drones up and you know scope out like a 20-mile area pretty quickly.
Yeah.
20-mile square area. So that's crazy, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So one more reason not to go on a helicopter or a plane is what you're saying.
Basically. How's Chumix on a plane right now?
Hey, there was one more mailbag I wanted to get to before we get into the news for the week. Is that all right?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Being that Jordan is back with us, we had someone from the Jordan fandom call in with a call, and I wanted to see what they said. Here we go.
Hey guys, Matt here from Warren County. I was listening to the pod where Jordan was saying how he needs a new niche sport like spike ball to get into. Well, Jordan, Jersey is actually home to a massive spike ball community that's one of the most competitive in the country. We have a bunch of great guys. We play all around. A bunch of great guys and gals that play all around the state. We meet up. We play. We have a great time. And we'd be happy to have you, Jordan. But yeah, we have people from beginners to world champions in the state that play, and it's just a fantastic time. But yeah, check us out on Instagram at NJRoundNet if this interests you at all. But yeah, thanks, boys. Love the pod. Keep it up. Peace.
He got a little shout out to his website in there. Jimmy, not Jimmy. Man, Jordan. You going to join the RoundNet community?
I think I might because my biggest issue is that I was like, I don't have anyone to play with. Like, I don't know how to find people who also play spike ball. Like,
Matt in Warren County wants to play with you.
I know. Apparently, he does. I think he's the one who followed me on Instagram too, because I saw somebody whose page is like fully dedicated to spike ball followed me on Instagram.
Nice.
I was like, this is weird. I thought Instagram was listening to me or something because I'm like, I was just talking about spike ball, and this person from New Jersey who plays spike ball just followed me.
Did you know that Spike Ball, the founder of Spike Ball, created the game, the black and yellow game we all know, ended up creating the sport of round net, not spike ball. Did you know this?
No.
he created the spike ball package and everything, all the stuff, and it got so big that he knew, in the same way rollerblades or many other things that we say that are brand names can become public domain, where the federal government basically, when a phrase gets so popular that everybody uses it, the federal government can determine that it can belong to the public. It's no longer a privately copywritten phrase. So this guy made spike ball, and he knew it was going to get so big that he created the sport of round net to protect the spike ball brand.
Interesting.
Yeah. So round net is the official name of spike ball sport.
Interesting. He was on Shark Tank too.
I listened to him on How I Built This, which is a NPR podcast. But I think he was on Shark Tank too.
I think he was. I remember seeing him pitching in on.
Building a new sport it just feels like an impossible feat to me.
I mean, they were pretty successful with it.
No, I know, but to go like, oh, I'm gonna make a new sport like that, it's like making a new dessert. Like who's the last new dessert you've heard of?
I remember the cronut.
Okay, that's you're right. That's the one I thought of too. But that's a combo of two previous desserts.
Yeah.
But when was the last time someone was like, oh, this is I'm just gonna
fully original.
I'm gonna make up a word like a crimbo, and you're like, what's that? And they're like, oh, it's a new pastry I came up with. Like that doesn't happen.
Let's do it.
It's the same as sports, because you know what? People have figured all of them out already. Like there's not a dessert that nobody's tried to make already. I feel like they've all been done.
That's not true. Nobody's made a crimbo yet.
Crimbo is gonna be delicious. And what it is, you want to hear what it is?
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
It's a light, deep fried pastry that's about 1/4 of an inch thick, the size of a pizza, and it's doused in cinnamon sugar and cannoli cream.
Oh, that cannoli
And then it's
cream.
rolled up into like if you rolled it up into almost like a cannoli, but bigger. And then it's sliced into tiny little nuggets, and then it's deep fried again, double deep fried.
You just
Crimbo.
came up with that
Bobs.
on the spot?
Yeah.
Really?
What do you think?
I think
you got a future.
good.
Well, I guess I lied. New desserts can be come up with. I was saying to someone the other day, I missed the elephant ear in LBI. You guys ever go there?
No.
You never had an elephant ear?
No.
In Long
know
Beach
what that
Island, in LBI, there's this thing called an elephant ear, which is a massive pastry. It was like dough.
Oh, I see it. I looked it up.
Oh, let me see if I can find a picture of one. I've only had one in Long Beach Island. We used to get them elephant ear plant. I used to get them as a kid.
This thing's massive.
It's like a massive,
Oh, wow.
almost like a massive cinnamon bun, but it's lighter and has more of a crunch. Oh, I miss it. It was so good. Yeah.
Is that something that's exclusive to LBI?
I think it's a Jersey thing. I mean, I've never had one anywhere else. Crust
never even
Crumb
heard of
Bakery. Crust this place. Elephant Ears is on the thing. I think they invented it. So we used to go down to LBI every summer. We'd get one every time. All right, why don't we move into the news? We're getting in the nostalgia weeds over here. Of what did I say? Crimbo.
Crimbo.
Gotta make one.
Imagine that's like a really derogatory term. I always keep saying it. Somebody writes in, they're like, I'm never listening again. All right. Hey, guys, we got a great week of news this week. It's always a good feeling when we roll up and...
Wait, I just looked up what crimbo means.
Oh, no. What does it mean, Jimmy?
It's an informal word for Christmas. What are you doing for crimbo?
Really? Yeah. Oh,
2
sweet.
weeks till crimbo.
Nice. All right. Hey, before we get into this week's episode, we want to remind you that we are recording live from our studio at the Vintage City offices. Vintage City offices has been our home for almost a year now, and we love it here. If you don't know what the Vintage City offices is, it is a office space that you can rent out your own office. It's a beautiful new facility, and they've got a lot going on. So if you are, let's just say, a small business owner, if you are someone that has a job where you work from home, but you're getting tired of it and you're looking for a new place to work at, you got to check out Vinty at the Vintage City offices. Jimmy, what do you think about this place? Since Chomik's not here, I'm going to put it on you. What are your thoughts?
I love the Vintage City offices. You see that ping pong table out front?
Love it.
That's the nicest ping pong table I've ever seen in my life.
It is a wonderful ping pong table, Jimmy.
And our office is beautiful. We love it here.
Yeah, so if people want to come work here, you can come get a tour of the facility. You can check out our studio when you come. The number is 908-259-4488. It's 908-259-4488. Make sure to take a little selfie with that big green and yellow neon sign when you do come and tell them we sent you. Thanks. Oh, boy. All right, let's get into some lighthearted news, which none of this week's news feels... Oh, the second story is hilarious, but the first one's a little deep. Over 7,000 cameras with built-in AI will be installed in Newark public schools this summer.
What does that mean? What is an AI camera?
Well, I could probably read faces, and I mean, we can get into the details in a second here, Jimmy. Sorry, I call you Jimmy. I don't know. You guys look too much alike. You could be Jimmy's stunt double.
That's my little brother, Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan and Jimmy, you guys both have the same vibe to you, the same energy.
I'll take it.
I don't know, Jordan. I don't know. We could read the article, but 7,000 of these puppies are getting installed. Should I read the article before we throw in some hot takes?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. More than 7,000 cameras equipped with artificial intelligence capabilities will be installed in Newark schools under a $12 million contract approved Thursday by the Newark Board of Education. District officials say the high-tech surveillance system is meant to make schools safer, but security experts warn that the systems with such capabilities could result in an invasion of privacy or could potentially misidentify items or students. Bum, bum, bum. Well, who would have thought that AI in a camera was a bad idea? So Turnkey Technologies, Inc. is based in Sayreville, New Jersey, and they will install the cameras with their required servers and storage across schools this summer as part of a 2-year contract. There's going to be 7,700 cameras, roughly one for every 5 students. Wow. And the project will be funded in part by federal COVID relief dollars, specifically from the American Rescue Plan. How ironic that the American Rescue Plan, just the title, is being used to survey the Americans. Isn't it interesting? Who's going to rescue you? Chew on that one. So board member Veriliz Santana said that the project was comprehensive and ambitious and asked for routine updates as installation begins in June. Other members raised questions about how the system would work to detect vaping. It's a large bid, as you can see from the funds that are being allocated, but we want to make sure to make effective use of our federal funding. So one quote I wanted to read to you, because they know that people are concerned about this. They said, "I want to be very clear to everybody that in no way, shape, or form will this result in an invasion of privacy of anyone's students, staff, or otherwise." So what do you guys think?
I believe them. I'm going to take them at their word right there.
Well, since they said that.
Yeah, I mean, we're good.
I mean, I have last night when I was prepping the stories, I was reading this and I was just thinking, this is a spicy take, but this is going to be tinfoily, but I'm just going to say it. I believe the government wants us to be in disarray. I believe they want our families to be a mess. They want the schools to be bad because then they can just fund themselves to put cameras in, and then they become parents. Like, here's what happens. If your parents don't take on the responsibility of making sure you behave in school, then the government has to, right? Like, they're investing $12 million in cameras with AI that can detect objects. And I mean, no doubt, I'm sure Newark schools are a mess right now if they're investing this money in. There's probably a lot of bad stuff going on. But I mean, goodness, this is kind of Orwellian, isn't it? I mean, I know that we'd go, well, look, school's got to be safe. You should have cameras in school for sure, of course. But there is something a little Orwellian and just like, it's always for safety. We're always trying to make things more safe and doing really creepy sort of stuff to make things more safe. No?
No, it's true. And I love how the only thing they really mentioned, or at least that you read, was about vaping. Like, is all this just to detect vaping? Like,
I doubt it.
That was like the only concern that they mentioned was, how is this going to be used to detect vaping?
I'm sure that they're also looking for like weapons and stuff like that. But it is kind of crazy to think, just like in the world that we live in today, that there's cameras everywhere. Like, you're always being recorded. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm being recorded right now.
Yeah, for a podcast.
But still being recorded, right? And like even when you like go into the woods, people have like trail cameras up all over the place. Like you never know when you're actually being recorded.
Yeah, it happened to me once.
So
I was in the woods. As a guy, you go in the woods.
yeah.
You got to take a leak. What do I see? Trail camera.
No, that's my biggest fear.
Yeah, so, there's it picks somewhere on the internet. No, I'm kidding. That did happen to me. I actually knew it was a long story, but I think we've all become very comfortable with just you're always on camera.
You're always being recorded.
You're always what? But that's the thing is you begin to self-censor because you're like, that's the Big Brother idea. And not to be like that guy, but the idea of Big Brother is we begin to self-censor because we always know we're being watched by somebody. Now, in a school system, I think an AI camera system sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good idea or a moral idea. I'm not making a claim on if this should be done. I'm just saying it sounds cool. Like think about if you have a server where it just spits out like, oh, gun in classroom 113 or vape in classroom 112. You're like, wow, we can just go right there and figure it out.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of interesting? Like, because the computer will move faster than humans can.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to have some sort of, I'd imagine this sounds like they're going to have some sort of a board that just gives updates, right? Because it has cameras with AI. What's the point of that? Would be to observe. So if a kid's smoking on a vape, they're just going to get an alert probably like, hey, student in classroom 25 is smoking a vape. And the principal's like, great, let's go get it.
When do you think they'll get to the point where there's no human involvement, where it's like it identifies something and then it takes care of it like by itself? Like you have
Well, I heard
some kind of robot take care of it.
I heard somebody say that's the goal, even with the police, is we're heading in a direction where AI is the ultimate goal. If you can get AI in place to do everything, I mean, this sounds so crazy to say out loud. I don't think most people realize how much AI is going to change our lives in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to a point where people are going to go, well, let's just have AI do it, because humans are partial. Like even a principal can have a bad day. They can come in with they got an argument with their wife or their husband and they're just a little stressed and they let out a little bit of that anger while they reprimand a student. Versus AI, you're dealing with a computer that can totally just, be impartial. That's, I think, where things are heading. People are going to want to be ruled by the androids. They're going to want, they're going to want a Android solution.
I could see it happening.
I don't want it to happen.
You think we'll get to the point? What movie is it? The Minority Report, where it's like they're predicting that people are going to commit crimes?
Yeah.
You think we'll ever get to that point with like AI predicting like this person has all the factors of somebody who would commit this crime?
I think they already are doing that.
You think so?
I mean, it's like it's data mining. I mean, they used the example when I was in high school I remember I was in a marketing class in high school and they talked about how there was a girl, Target saw that a girl had purchased like a pregnancy test and then multiple items that in conjunction told Target that the girl was pregnant. And they knew she was pregnant before she didn't even buy a pregnancy test. She bought other items and Target knew she was pregnant before even she did. And she was like a teenager. So they mailed to her house a postcard with coupons for like diapers and stuff.
Wow.
And it caused a big issue. I learned about this probably 15 years ago, so I'm sorry if the details are muddy, but the idea being that was like a decade and a half ago.
Yeah.
Like the information that can be, the conclusions that can be drawn based on you, I'm sure that we all have profiles, whether in federal agencies or whether even just for the Amazon and other stores we shop at, that know us better than us. Like TikTok knows you better than you know you. Probably. They say it takes 100 swipes on TikTok for TikTok to know you, like basically almost to the best of its capabilities.
It is scary sometimes because like there's certain things I don't even say out loud. Like I'll just think it and then it shows up on TikTok and I'm like,
yeah, it's like that game 20. Remember 20 questions?
Yeah,
that is 20 questions. You remember that, Jimmy?
Yeah,
where you're like I'm thinking of a tissue box and then it asks you 20 questions.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening to us all day with everything that we do. Every podcast you listen to, every song you listen to, it's just 20. It's a hyper refined 20 questions. And I'm sure the FBI, and this is why it's so infuriating when, like a mass shooting happens. And not only was the person reported to the FBI, but they also made a bunch of purchases where you're like, how did you guys not? Like, how did you not? Amazon knows I'm thinking about a trip to Hawaii and I've never even been on a plane to Hawaii. How do you guys not know that this kid's going to go do all this when he's like in all these forums doing all this? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but I do think we are heading in that direction. They're going to know who's going to commit a crime before. But at the same time, we're heading in a direction where nobody wants to, incarcerate people. Like, look at our major cities. Like, everybody, there's no cash bail or whatever. Like, everybody gets let out. So it's kind of like, well, what happens if, like, people are going to commit a crime, but nobody actually even goes to jail?
Yeah, it's just like, well, that's what's funny with like the security cameras and stuff. It's like, you're just going to watch people commit crimes. Like, but are you actually going to do anything about it? Or is it just there to make people feel safe?
I think we have to think of more creative solutions with vapes. Like, what if we could put something in the air that when they inhale the vape, it just breaks the vape? Like science fiction, kind of like it just fries the vape.
I think you just got to make it not cool to vape.
Dude, you see, you're a marketer.
It really is all about marketing. Where it's like,
we need to get, who's like a really not cool celebrity?
Someone not.
We need to launch a campaign where the least cool celebrities come out and they're like, hey, I'm out here vaping. How you guys doing? Because they're like, oh, shoot, I got to stop.
Got to stop that.
Wait, but that's great. Do you think that's ever been done?
Like trying to market like that?
Like using marketing in a negative way.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't know, like in that context, but like intentionally using celebrities that nobody likes to do things so that nobody else does them.
What if we got Jojo Siwa
to start
promoting
promoting
vaping?
That would be really interesting.
Or what if you got the most unlikable characters? Actually, here's a great campaign. You get a bunch of villains from. I saw this thing the other day. There was a design house in, maybe it was like Prada, one of those big design houses overseas, and they did a runway show where they had super villains from all the movies we love wear the clothing and walk the runway. Really? So it's all these dudes, like the most evil dudes from movies. Like I'm trying to think of an example of one. I can't think of a villain off the top of my head, but like
Syndrome.
Like a James Bond villain or Green Goblin from Spider-Man, William Dafoe.
Yeah.
And they were all, it's like a villain collection, which is pretty sweet. It's actually a cool idea. What if we just got all the villains to come together and say, in character, and say vaping is great for you? Like, keep vaping, Thanos and all these people. I mean, the kids would at least be like, that's pretty clever,
Maybe.
Moving on. All right, let's move on to our next story here. In Washington Township, police wrangled a 200-pound pig named Pumbaa after a brief escape.
I wish it was a warthog.
A warthog?
Yeah.
Do we have warthogs?
I don't know, but Pumbaa, right?
Yeah,
He was
true.
a warthog.
That's true. So, the animals are running wild. This has happened a few times in New Jersey. So it says Washington Township police were on a different kind of foot pursuit on Friday afternoon. They were trying to take on a 200-pound pig named Pumbaa and put him in custody. His crime? Escaping his stall. It wasn't the typical day on the job, to say the least, said Officer Frank Sicilis. It was a change. We deal with some unsettling things in this job, and I think it was fun. So the cops were just having a good time. So these two officers were the first to answer the call when residents spotted Pumbaa in traffic at the corner of Egg Harbor and County House Roads in Seoul. The officers located him in the Heatherwood neighborhood. Let me tell you something. They don't tell you how to wrangle pigs as a police officer, said Cicilise. I reverted back to my college football days, like I was a linebacker coming through the middle, hitting a running back. I just jumped on top of it, tackled it. We tied it, and that was it. I like this guy. Who is this? We got to get this officer on the line here. That's amazing. Once the officers captured Pumbaa and posted a wanted flyer on Facebook, the pig was reunited with his owner within 45 minutes. Turns out he lives about a mile down the road. Man, that's a happy ending to a funny story.
I'm just so happy that Pumbaa is back home.
Yeah, and this officer, man, playing college football, it came in handy. To be able to wrangle a pig. A 200-pound pig. That sounds like a strong pig.
It's a big pig.
I don't think people realize, when you hear about the hogs that can just knock down trees in Texas. Have you ever heard about that?
Yeah, the
I've
feral
seen videos
hogs.
of that where they just
Feral hogs, where they just run through a tree. You're
Yeah.
like, geez, it's just they're just like a ball of meat running around, or pork, I should say, right?
Did you see the picture?
I saw one of the pictures. Which picture?
The picture of the police officer like on top of him.
No, wait, let me find it. I'm sure Josh will throw it in the clip on our socials. My ABC 7 News article isn't loading.
I'm looking at Pix 11 News.
Oh,
here.
yeah. Oh, my gosh. That's awesome.
It's a big pig.
That's pretty hilarious. The cops are like laughing. So he's a fat pig. Holy cow. What's that thing? Is this horns or like
Tusks.
Yeah, it looks like he has little tusks.
Yeah.
Pumbaa?
I
serious
can't
pig.
imagine that would feel good if that hit you.
Yeah. The one officer Rossi said, I think it was a good time. It was it was normal for me, just not in uniform, obviously, said Sicilies. I hope I'm saying that guy's last name right. Maybe I'll be a farmer one day. You never know. As for Pumbaa, there will be no punishments or fines, just a good night's rest after a long day on the loose. There you go. There you have it. 2 local cops,
They're heroes.
hometown heroes, wrangling Pumbaa.
It's so funny, like the random situations that police officers have to deal with. Like you're just expected to
Yeah.
deal
Police and
with
fire,
a pig.
really.
I was thinking about that the other day because, and you're supposed to do it seriously. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of jobs where you do ridiculous stuff, but you don't have to carry yourself with a candor of professionalism.
Yeah.
Because you're not like they're writing documents that are going to be used in court when you write a report. Like it's
Yeah.
you're dealing with very serious legal stuff versus like if you're a garbage man and something crazy happens, like, whatever, it's just kind of more lighthearted.
Yeah. It's not being documented.
It's not being documented by the U.S. justice system. But it's kind of crazy how a cop, like anytime anything goes wrong, people just call a cop. Like if you wake up and, there's a crater in your front yard, the first thing you're going to do is call the cops.
It's just like, what
You're
are
not
they
going
going
to
to do about it?
Yeah, there's nobody else you're going to call. If your neighbor's trash can's on fire, maybe you'll call the neighbor, but most likely people nowadays, they're going to call the cops.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I would love an anonymous line where cops could call in and just tell us crazy things they encounter.
That would be so
It'd be pretty funny.
interesting.
If we could
Some
like
crazy
deepen their
stories.
voices and hide their townships, there's an idea. That would be a great podcast.
That would. Just
Anonymous
stories.
like cop calls.
Just around the whole country. Doesn't even have to be New Jersey.
Yeah, just
focused.
just let people call in and
Yeah.
share. And that's how my brain works. And if Josh Chomick had heard that, he'd be like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened with the Garden State. I said, "Let's do this," and I wasn't serious, and he took it a little too serious.
And now here we are.
So I credit Josh Chomick with the success of this podcast. All right, so Pumbaa's happy and home. We can move on from that story. I don't think much more needs to be said there. An oil tanker was caught illegally dumping oily waste into New Jersey waters.
It's not good.
Not good at all. How many like actually do this though and don't get caught? It's
That's-
scary to think about.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering when I read it. This must be a common occurrence, right?
Yeah, because I feel like it's not like a one-off thing where you're just going to do it and then never do it again.
Yeah. Well, this is giving, what's the saying? Feed to the fodder. For the people that think New Jersey waters are gross, you think the Jersey Shore is disgusting. Well, this is kind of a good argument that the Jersey Shore is disgusting. Like
Gives us some
oily
evidence
waste.
right here.
Well, I mean, this happens like not this particularly, but like every few summers you hear like medical waste like washes up on like the shores. And it's like,
What is that?
I don't know. I've always heard just classified that, hey, it's medical waste. Oh. Like, what does that mean? Like, where did it come from?
Like flesh?
I don't know.
I think it'd be anything like needles or just
My
anything used in a
mind went to
hospital.
needles, but
Remember when BP just dumped like millions of barrels of oil in the ocean?
I think that was a mistake.
I know, but like I was just thinking
They
about
meant to dump it somewhere else, maybe.
probably in our gas tanks, but think about how crazy of a crime that is.
Oh, yeah.
Because most crimes, I mean, besides like murder, most crimes, let's say you speed, or let's say even you steal from a big bank. The victim is the bank, right? Like you go into a bank and you steal. It's bad, but banks have a lot of money. We'll figure it out. There's insurance. There's systems in place. You pour oil in the ocean, like the oceans existed forever, and you're just going to destroy it. Like it just seems so ridiculous that I know BP probably had to pay some fines. I know they were probably at the end of the day fine because they're still a thing. But isn't that crazy to think about? Like in hindsight, how did they get away with that? How is BP still existing today?
Lobbying.
Probably. I mean, they got a lot of money. But so this oil tanker was pulling a BP in Woodbridge. Well, I guess off the coast near Woodbridge. Two head engineers of an oil tanker flying under the flag of Greece have admitted to dumping oily waste into the waters off the New Jersey coast and trying to cover it up. The Critty Ruby, a 30,000-ton oil tanker owned by a Greek shipping company, discharged oily waste near a petroleum terminal in Seawarren on September 14th, 2022. So this is 2 years ago this went down. It was no accident. The vessel's chief engineer, Kostolanios Atasilas, good Greek name, 57, directed the crew to discharge the waste according to the U.S. Attorney Office and the District of New Jersey. The tanker's second engineer, Sonny Bostino, 54, also pleaded guilty to one count of the same crime. Atsalis pleaded guilty in federal court in Newark to 2 counts of violating the act to prevent pollution from ships, U.S. Attorney Philip Selinger said Tuesday. So what's going to happen to these guys?
Jail.
They're going to get a max penalty of 6 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. So one thing is the captain told the crew members to hide the equipment they used to pull off the illegal dumping before the U.S. Coast Guard could do an inspection. So these guys are just criminals.
To you, does that seem like enough?
No. I mean, did you hear about the viral video? You guys know how there's
I know exactly what you're talking about.
there's these accounts, Jordan, where they film people going out of ports on boats. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
So this has become a thing. Like shore boats, they follow us in Jersey, but there's also one in Florida. And they had a lens that was like a 1200 millimeter lens, like a crazy zoom lens. And they zoomed out and followed a boat of teenagers. And they showed that once they got way out, they took a trash can full of trash and just dumped it in the ocean. And the video went super viral. And it turns out they're like 15-year-old kids. And they're going to, their parents are going to have to pay like $100,000 fine. And the kids are going to have to do community service hours. And the internet was furious. Because, you watch it on video, you're like, what's wrong with people?
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Just take that garbage when you get back to shore and
that makes
throw
no
it
sense.
out.
Even when you litter on a highway, and I'm not like a stickler. If someone throws trash out the window of their car on the highway, it makes me so furious. That makes me so angry.
Yeah.
It makes me so unbelievably angry. To do in the ocean where it's not even like we can clean it up, it's just out there. And I'm not even like the save the whales guy. Like I love fish, I love wildlife, I like all animals, but I'm not going to be the dude that's going to like go protest. I don't care that much. But in a situation like this,
it's just annoying. Like
it's just annoying. Yeah, it's
like you just go out there just to dump garbage.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Especially when there's so many places that you could put it.
I think they should both get 10 years in prison. They should make an example of these guys. And they should have to pay the shipping company should have to pay like a $10 million fine.
Yeah.
Like make it so crazy that every other
It's like, I will never do
ship.
this.
Yeah, you got to make an example because then people are going to go, well, what's the worst that happens? You get 3 months in prison and you pay a $100,000 fine, which is probably what's going to happen here. Let's be honest. But I think it's crazy to dump oil in the ocean. What are you doing? I mean, if people spill oil under their car in their driveway, it's like even that's bad because that's going to go down and get funneled into the water. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy. But I don't know a lot about oil spills. Jordan, what do you know about an oil spill?
That they're not good.
Oh,
That's pretty much all I know.
okay. All right. Well, any thoughts on this, Jimmy, before we move on?
It's crazy. They should go to jail for a long time. Punishment's not enough.
All right, let's move on. A 5-year-old girl in Hoboken was left scarred after her arm was sucked into an elevator door as a hero doorman ran up 7 flights of stairs to save her.
It's going to be so scary.
I can't imagine.
I feel like that's everybody's worst fear in the elevator too. Like the door closes on you.
Between that and like the elevator dropping, like
That too.
Why are elevators so unnatural to us as humans? Like everybody has elevator fear.
yeah, because you're like not that much is holding you up. Especially some of these like big elevators in like these tall buildings that go like super fast.
I was in an elevator just last week. They went up like 40 flights of stairs in probably 6 seconds. It was
Yeah.
so quick. It was like it would just go like every second the number on the screen would update like 12 floors. It was like 12, 18, 27. That's like the speed it was moving at.
And you feel like your ears popping like immediately.
Yeah, because it's just flying.
Yeah.
But so a harrowing video captured the moment a young girl's arm was caught in an elevator door. And the Hero, New Jersey doorman who responded to the scene said the sound of her screaming alone got him to run up 7 flights of stairs to help rescue her. Zoe, then 5, was en route to the pool at 1450 Washington at Hudson T in Hoboken with her mother and siblings in July when her arm was violently sucked into the elevator door shaft. Video from inside the lift obtained by WABC showed doorman Manny Batista told the Post that he heard Zoe's screams from the front desk 7 flights away. I ran up all 7 flights of stairs and I was hearing screams the whole time, he said Saturday. 5-year-old Zoe stuck to the elevator door. Here's a quote. It says, "It was very scary because I have kids of my own, so I know the scream of hurt or pain. I know the difference between pain, fun screams. She was in pain," Batista added. So he ran up the 7 flights with a key to shut down the elevator. And he saved this little girl. One of the adults tried to free Zoe by lathering her arm in sanitizer to no avail, which is terrible, by the way, because she had a laceration on her arm. You see later. So that's just had to be so painful. After a harrowing 3 minutes, a neighbor came by with hand lotion, which finally helped ease Zoe's trapped arm out of the door. She put it on her arm, and then she opened it and pulled it out. So when Zoe's arm was finally free, Batista provided some on-the-spot first aid while the family waited for EMS and police. I took my shirt off and gave it to the mom so she could wrap her arm. Then I had 2 cigarettes after because it was so nerve-wracking. Wow, this poor guy had to take a cigarette break afterwards. The little girl, she was fine. Like, she was very brave. If it was me and I'm an adult, I would have been crying like a baby. That was the doorman. This guy sounds awesome. Sounds like a real hero. Nearly 1 year later, the youngster has a large scar as a reminder of their freak misadventure. It's pretty rugged. It's pretty big. And it's something that we deal with on a daily basis. She wants to cover it. It doesn't feel good. It's sensitive. So this poor little girl, I mean, a 5-year-old girl, you think her arm had to be tiny, and it got, what I don't get is it getting sucked into the door.
I was about to say that. Like, what does that mean?
Maybe she was putting her arm into the door, you know, like an elevator door is in a vacuum. So maybe
Yeah,
she
that's
was,
what I was like,
maybe
I
she
don't
was
know
like,
if that's like a-
had her hand on it and it got pulled in when the doors kind of folded in.
Maybe. I thought that was a weird word to use because I'm like, what does it mean? Have her arm sucked in? Like something pulled her inside the elevator?
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I wonder
either
how
way-
old this elevator is.
It sounds like it's a new building, and if you see the video, it doesn't look like an old elevator. It looks like a pretty modern one.
Yeah.
You could see her little arm. Oh my gosh.
There's this one elevator that I take somewhat frequently, and it's always like bouncing around and jumping, and I'm like, I should just take the stairs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's elevators can be pretty freaky.
Yeah.
There's photos on the article of her scar and her arm, and it just sounds like she was pushing. She was being a little kid. You know, she had her hand on the door, and the door closed in, and she didn't pull her hand off, and maybe she was just seeing what would happen, and her arm
Wait,
got
did the
stuck.
door close on her hand? Because in the picture, it looks like it was the way it opened. Was her hand on the door?
Look.
But
So-
the door looks opened, right?
Yeah, it's opened.
So it like where it like folds.
Yeah,
it's
so-
sucked up,
so
so
you-
it pulled her hand in.
So
Okay, that's why I said it sucked
so
in.
an elevator door slides over, right? It looks like she had her hand flat against the elevator door, and then it started to open, like it started to go into its little pocket. And
Yeah.
she just didn't pull her hand off, and,
Okay,
it got
that's-
stuck in.
So that's why I
what-
said it sucked her hand in.
Yeah.
I thought it closed on her hand.
No. I mean, good thing the elevator didn't move at all, because who knows what would have happened.
That's
here.
even worse than what I thought it was.
Yeah. So, but she's okay, and thank goodness she has a scar, but hopefully she can work through all that. But she still has her hand, which is a good thing. I mean, it could have gone a lot of different ways, right?
Yeah.
All right, we have another article here. This one's kind of heavy. Jimmy, how you doing over there? You all right?
Doing great.
All right. A New Jersey State police officer died this week in a training exercise in Mercer County.
Super sad. I heard about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, you hear about a lot of training exercise deaths in the military. I feel like it's not a lot, but you hear about them.
Yeah.
Whether it's like stuff with planes but to hear from a state police situation is very close to home and super sad.
Yeah.
A New Jersey State Police trooper died Sunday while training at the NJSP headquarters in Ewing, Mercer County. Governor Phil Murphy said in a release. Murphy identified the trooper as Marcellus Bethia. Tammy and I are deeply saddened to hear of the passing of a New Jersey State trooper who died during a training at NJSP headquarters in Ewing, Murphy said in a statement. So this gentleman attended Northern Burlington County Regional High School, and he was training to join an elite unit in the state police, according to the New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin. State police are investigating his death and won't comment on exactly what happened, but CBS News Philadelphia learned he was training for an elite position and was less than a week from joining the new unit. We're waiting for the results of the autopsy. He was in tremendous physical condition, so that's why it's surprising for all of us. So one quote here says he was a gentle giant. He was a big man with a large heart and very soft-spoken. He was respected by all his peers, and we're going to miss him greatly. So it sounds like he was beloved by his community, and it's just it's a sad situation all around.
Yeah. It's horrible to hear about.
I guess these things happen, and we will get more information on what happened, but that's really all there is, to the situation overall. I mean, when more information comes out, obviously we'll report on it. We'll tell everybody what's going on, but that's what we know as of now. So any thoughts or comments, guys, on that situation?
I just think it's so scary. Like, you don't really think about something like that happening during a training.
No.
Or like, for any job.
You're going to work. This is
Yeah,
another
you probably
day.
think it's going to be more so like a chill day than.
Yeah, you're probably
than
excited
normal.
for it, right? Like
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm almost at this like elite level. This is like my last day of training.
That's what I want to know is how elite, like New Jersey State Troopers, what would that unit be doing?
I don't know.
I'm sure there's levels to it where they're taking on higher, crazier tasks. But who knows? Who knows what he was training for? There was a gentleman from New Jersey that passed away a few years ago while training to be a Navy SEAL. Do you remember that?
I do.
That was Jordan. Did you hear about that, Jordan?
No.
There's a kid who was like 26 years old, Kyle Mullen. He was a Navy SEAL candidate, and he died hours after completing Hell Week, which is a week where they basically don't sleep and they do crazy physical stuff. And he was like a freak athlete. Like all these guys you're talking about peak physical shape. Many are like college athletes. These even state troopers. These guys that are at that level, very good shape people. So I wonder. I guess we'll find out what happened when they. I don't want to at all guess or try to fill in the gaps. We'll just see what they say. But it's sad, nonetheless. So
Yeah, to see a young person like that. You saw that thing recently, speaking of like health emergencies with young, healthy people. Did you see that guy in a marathon just dropped dead, like 26 years old?
no, what?
He was like, everybody's like, he had perfect health, and he just, in the middle of a marathon, just dropped dead.
Really?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
Just recently I saw a thing.
Oh.
But also I saw that the dude who ran the fastest marathon just in October also died.
Was this the guy you were talking about?
No, but I just saw that recently too. There was some other dude, I forget what marathon it was. They said he
A 26-year-old chef dies running Nashville half marathon. Treasured son,
half
brother,
marathon.
boyfriend, and friend. What in the world? So he just died in the middle of a marathon?
Yeah, they said he just like dropped dead.
It's horrible.
That's
So scary.
pretty freaky.
You have, some underlying health condition you're not even aware of.
Ugh. With running becoming so popular right now and so many people running races, you kind of wonder how many people around us have, I mean, this is why TikTok's so wicked, because you see, there was a time in our world where horrible things would happen, but you wouldn't have to see it. Now
Yeah.
you go on TikTok and the widow of the guy who died with the freak heart condition is posting videos about it. And you're just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You just feel terrible.
Yeah, or the kid, like that kid's brother is on TikTok going, here's what happened to our family. And you're like, have you seen all the stuff with colon cancer going around?
No.
They're saying colon cancer is on the rise. It's like becoming one of the leading causes of death for people under 40. And
It's great.
all these people on TikTok are like, yeah, when I was 27, I got diagnosed with colon cancer. Here were the signs. And people are freaking out because now anybody that has like an upset stomach for a week or, pain in their, in their stomach assumes they have colon cancer. And it's just, I don't think we were meant for this much information. On one end, it's great because you're able to go, man, someone died running a marathon. Let me go get my, I have pain in my chest and I'm running a lot. Maybe I should go get that checked out, which
Yeah.
is literally my situation right now.
Yeah?
Because I've had a ton of pain in my chest and I've been running a lot.
Really?
I think it's just stress though.
Probably stress.
But I read
it
an
is-
article like this and I'm like,
It is scary. You become like so
maybe I'll go get an EKG.
aware of it. And like, it's people who are perfectly healthy. Like, happened to someone I know. Well, I don't know him personally, but my dad's former boss was playing soccer and he dropped dead during the game. And they brought out an AED and stuff, brought him back to life. We're like perfectly healthy dude. Young
brought him back to
guy.
life?
Yeah.
Well, that's a happy ending though.
It's a happy ending, but insane. Like,
Oh, I thought he just
it was at
dude.
it was
okay,
at
that's
the Metuchen Sportsplex. Like, I used to play there all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he apparently just
what
literally,
what was wrong with something with his heart?
yeah, some kind of underlying heart issue that he didn't know about, and it was like,
It's crazy. There's all crazy stuff happening in the world. But hey, let's wrap this episode up. We're having some camera issues for the listeners at home. And, that's what happens when Josh Chomick leaves us for Montana.
yeah,
And Jordan, it's probably you that's doing this to the cameras.
what? I'm here all the time. I feel like it's never happened.
Likely story. All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you want to support the podcast, the best way you can is to go to thegardenstate.com. It's our merch store, free shipping on every order, and buy yourself a hat, a t-shirt, a keychain, a flag, some stickers, whatever you like, whatever you need. All those items, we try to print high quality items for you guys that we're proud of, that we're proud to see you repping in public or when we run into you at a coffee shop. So you can go to thegardenstate.com, pick out your item today. And otherwise, that'll be it for this week's episode. We'll be back next Friday. Any closing thoughts, guys?
No, it's going to be a good week. It's a little rainy, but it's starting to get nice out.
Excellent. Jordan?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, then we'll see you guys next Friday. Have a great week. Later.
See ya.
You're listening to the Garden State. The Dirty Jers.